Hey everyone, we're just going to wait a couple more minutes for the stragglers to come and then we'll get started.
Hello, everyone. Just waiting one more minute here. There's a few people still looking to join, and then we can get started. But thanks for joining us today. All right, Adam, what do you think? We should get started?
Sure, go ahead.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Ron Haida, e-commerce account director for Graphically Speaking. I work on our customers' B2B and B2C e-commerce website development. I have strategized, help looking for ways to reduce costs and increase sales. And so today's presentation is really, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to AI and automation. So we have 30 minutes. I'm going to try to get through a fair bit of information that specifies the details about automation and an AI and how the two come together. Perhaps some low-hanging fruit for you all, and then leave you with some tips and tools that you can utilize for your own initiatives. There are questions available, or the question chats available. Hopefully we'll get to answering some of those questions, but if along the presentation you come up with a question, please put it in and we'll see if we can get to it. All right, so getting started. Today's agenda really going through, why automation matters, the difference between automation versus website tools and AI. Some platform strategies. We're going to focus, on Shopify, Magento, and WooCommerce, and we're going to do quick case studies, real quick, looking at how they've saved some energy, some costs, and some resources, and then leaving you with some action plans and tool sets. So why automation matters in e-commerce, right? 3 breakdowns: market trends and buyer demands. Again, this is primarily for a Canadian audience. I've tried to keep this content as relevant to the Canadian landscape. It does cross over throughout North America and a bit to international, but regional needs, in e-commerce in Canada have got some limitations, and then basically looking at cost effectiveness and ROI for automation. So where is before we get into depths, where are people utilizing automation and AI, or a combination of the two? So in B2C, we've got email and SMS marketing, so text messaging. We've got chatbots, and a lot of people have already seen, where these chatbots are. Dynamic product recommendations, which is huge. Being able to offer up product recommendations, what other people have bought, utilizing some analytics, perhaps AI, on the users, preferences and their activities within the site, or people similar to them. Obviously, there's a use for inventory management, being able to justify forecasts, and automated reviews and loyalty programs, right? That really helps when it comes to automation. On the B2B side, we see that the primary use of automation is in the connectivity, your CRM, your ERP workflows, automating messaging to sales teams, to inventory management, transferring orders into your ERP system. Excuse me. There's some automation there that's obviously very effective. Personalization. Not only are we doing personalization by targeted groups of customers, but also very individualized users, where they may be a great buyer for a large quantity of a widget. So giving them tiered pricing, account-based personalization is also to do with, people's past history. If I order from a website that sells 5,000 items, but I'm only interested really in the 1,000, the consumables, right? So personalization, I don't necessarily need to see all of those. I need to be reminded that you sell them, but I'm really focused in my purchasing department for the things that I'm interested in. I mentioned procurement, reordering, fulfillment. There's automation involvement there. Invoices and account payment automation, sending invoices automatically. There are studies out there where in-time invoices, intelligent invoices being sent like within seconds after use or after purchase. If you can imagine, you've got an AR that's got, 30 days, that money being held up if you can get automatic payments going and analytics. That's probably the biggest area of where people are initially have been using AI and automation is in analytics and reporting. Who bought what, when, static information, but then can be in turn to strategy. So some of the market trends that we've got currently going on. So these are taken from kind of a variety of topics. 80% is a prediction by Gartner. 80% of B2B and 90% of B2C will have digital interactions. These are not human interactions, they're digital. They may involve human completion or, you meet somebody at a trade show, but the activity done online is increasingly going with the digital on-demand type of environment. Retailers are improving by 60%, use of automation. The buyers during their user experience really expect a certain amount of, personalization, things that they're interested in. Why can't you read my mind mentality? Amazon does a great job of that, but that's what people are expecting. And in Canada in particular, North America, globally as well, inflation is a huge concern. So I mentioned earlier, it's increasing the conversion rate, like the average order value is increased or the increase in sales, new targets, new markets. But a huge demand on automation and use of AI is because it'll help drive the cost down. So that's a massive impact, especially on the B2B environment. So regionally in Canada, we have what's called a bilingual country. So we're utilizing AI and automation tools for translations rather than creating 5 new landing pages individually managed with content. We're able to use some of these tools for languages, right? And just the nuance of the language, the nuance of the geography. The RFPs that a lot of our clients are embarking on are now coming back at a large percent. This is 50%, and this is from Shopify. It's anywhere from 30 to 70%. It really depends on your RFP environment. If you're working with the government, for example, in a fulfillment capacity or supplier capacity, the majority of those RFPs are demanding that your system be in tune with your ERP. The reason for that is the source of truth. They want to know that what they're seeing at 8 p.m. or on a Saturday is real. And so that when they're getting quotes, they're getting ordering, that it is in fact true. Mobile on the B2C is a huge area where people are not only initiating the sale activity, the interest of your products, but actually completion. So we've seen a huge jump in being mobile first on the B2C side. And then compliance. We've got a lot of compliance. The Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, etc., is one of them that protects personal information. We've got accessibility compliance here in Canada that's growing stronger and stronger by the day. So we want to make sure that we're attending to both compliance on personal information, accessibility, and things like gateway transactions and being protective of that. So in the cost effectiveness and return on investment strategies, automation, right? If you have the opportunity to automate a quote request by giving the person a quick response rate on, they've asked for a certain quantity that wasn't listed in your website or available as a price discount, automating that quote process. Increasing the order value, the average order value of a customer by 5 or 10% is a lot less expensive than trying to find new customers, right? There are non-AI tools. Shopify Flow has one that works, and triggers, or sorry, it can trigger AI, and I'm going to get into some details about those platforms. very cost effective to install. And overall, a lot of these cost-effective implementations of automation are either available within your platform or through an extension or through a free use of a third-party source, a SaaS solution or something. But overall, the implementation of some of these can greatly reduce your costs pretty quickly. So let's talk a little bit about the spectrum of automation versus AI tool sets and stuff. So we're going to do a quick deep dive into AI automation. Again, that's a massive topic. I only have X amount of time, so we're going to try to get some quick points in there that are relevant for you guys. We're going to look at some of the key tools for the e-commerce sites that we've currently found that we currently are using with our clients, and when to combine the two. Is there value in combining the two? At what point do you want to do everything AI or everything automated? There's some values into that. So deep dive into the AI, right? Dynamic pricing could be something that is very effective in the B2B arrangements. If your customers are buying and you have a tiered pricing process for your customers, depending on the customer group, if you have the ability to create dynamic pricing within your parameters and your conditions and reply that to the person, the purchasing department or the agent who is on your site at the time that they're doing that, you can increase the actual conversion rate right off the bat. I mentioned product recommendations. To be able to give a customer a product recommendation that is personalized. Now, it's personalized either on the products that they have purchased in the past, the journey they took through your site, the quantity of times they came to that one PDP page, for example. But nowadays, we can also generalize what this user's character is like, what their activities would be like if it was somebody else in their similar position, and then offer product recommendations that are very relevant to that person. Chatbots, I have a separate slide on chatbots itself, but it's huge when it comes to handling customer service. The FAQ section in a website, now people are wanting to just immediately find a question or an answer to a question. A lot of the questions being asked of e-commerce site owners are repetitive. They're the same. How much is for shipping for so-and-so? How long will the order take? What is the warranty? So giving that into your chatbot, into automated responses, it also handles it, at night or in the weekend when your staff aren't there. And then obviously predictive analysis, right? You can forecast inventory, trains, warehousing, a cart abandonment can also be kind of analyzed and figured out. But some of the predictive analytics can also come from the future of the customer's purchase. This is a little bit like an Inception. If you guys watch the movie Inception, putting together a forecast of what a customer may want at a particular time and place and introducing that into an ad, into a text message, into an email, one of your email subscription pieces, introducing the idea because that consumable is coming up. It's a 3-month kind of use duration. So at 2.5 months or 2 months, you start putting that out. So some inception techniques. Some key tools that we're doing with e-commerce sites now between AI and website automation that I thought I'd mention. We've run across these, utilized these with our clients before. And what you'll notice here between the two camps, that there are mentions on both sides of the fence. So Klaviyo, for example, they use AI for marketing automation, but they also have static email workflows. So you can trigger a workflow in Klaviyo. Same with some of these other, Magento, for example. I'll get into that. So a lot of these tools are not interchangeable, but one performs and pushes to the other. So an automation in a website, an activity in a website can utilize AI to then predict a better outcome or predict a better workflow. In sense too, you can utilize AI to gather what you need to create an automation that's within the website. So they're compatible with each other. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this, but in essence, I'm getting to the point of why to combine the two. right? You can use AI for some predictive analysis, but you can also do it for predictive personalization analysis or predictive, insights into future purchasing abilities. You can do this with your inventory management, which is a huge improvement if you're talking about shipment costs or getting the products into the store, into the warehouse, so that they're seen as in stock on the site. That is huge added value for someone who's looking to purchase. And of course, the 24/7 support I already mentioned. Non-AI, so the strengths of non-AI activities and functionality with automation is a lot of the tools and platforms that you're currently using have a form of automation to it. So it's free. You just have to utilize it. Some of them are a little more, money during the month, but not too expensive to add on an extension into WordPress or WooCommerce. The non-AI automation is very reliable because it's static. You've built a rules-based condition that says when this customer enters this product and this product into the cart and they are from Canada, give them a 10% discount, right? So that's a static rules-based condition that'll happen, right? Easy to do, and it's 100% active, right? It's easy to set up as well. A lot of these tools are drag and drop. So you just like, I want to condition this customer group, this product or category, this is the discount. Combining the two, I think the most important thing in this entire slide right now is that second box. It says risk-free foundation. Non-AI ensures stability and AI adds precision. So you've got the non-AI functionality of the website, the tool set that is statically set up to create the environment. And you're using AI to help fine tune it and give it some, personalized flavors to it that are very time sensitive. So that's very important to kind of look at that, time sensitivity, the fine tuning of the actual functionality of that workflow. So that conclusion, combining both ensures cost-effective setup, right? So this goes back to those original stats of what people are expecting. You work through the two of them, put them together cost effectively, and you're going to address the majority of your target audience's concerns. So specifically into some platforms, we work with Shopify, Magento, and WooCommerce. Excuse me. So I'm going to get into some details about some of these platforms. With Shopify Flow, it's non-AI automation, but it is very similar to the other platforms. It's got a trigger, it's got a condition, and it's got an action. So in this particular case, I am looking at a 1 hour condition of somebody who has visited a product page, right? And real quick here, they have visited a product page, yes. Have they added an item to a cart? No. Has the condition also shown that this person has purchased this product, within the last 30 days? Meaning, if they're coming back to a product page after they've purchased, they're looking for further information that they either forgot or instructions, warranty, or whatever it might be. But in this particular case, no, they haven't, right? So what do? Send them a text message, give them a discount, give them an offering, remind them why they came in the first place, right? Edge them over. Magento, also very similar, is an if this, then that kind of condition. It has triggers, it has conditions, and has activities. If you've ever worked with the Magento cart, you have cart rules. You can specify right down to individual user. If this customer is between the ages of 25 and 35 and lives in Brampton, Ontario, and has bought this product in the last X amount of days, then do this, right? So you can create some very specific or group-based triggers. You've got conditions: exclude people outside of this time frame or this geo IP address, exclude people who have bought X, right? Whatever the conditions might be, then push it, right? That's the static, non-AI animated or automated activities. You've got some tool sets here: Klaviyo, HubSpot, MailChimp, some SMS text messaging that then internalizes that input. They do the contact, information, the event properties, what happened when, what are we supposed to collect? They have the predetermined workflow. Oh, if this is met, yes, use this workflow. Double check the consent, especially in Canada, and then push the result. That result could be, I just listed a few things that we've personally worked on with clients: send a personalized email, apply a discount, alert the sales team, hey, by the way, this person was looking at your site 3 times over the last 3 days, etc. do a text message, go through multi-channel escalation, right? Your social, your email, internal CRM activities, push it all out. Now with WooCommerce, WooCommerce, like Magento, has a lot of use and dependencies on extensions, but there's a lot of great AI extensions that are coming out. So for product recommendations, and by the way, WooCommerce and Magento don't have AI built in within their platform. They use external sources. AI used from Magento is the Adobe Sensei, as well as with WooCommerce, it's external, right, as extensions. So product recommendations, there's a few examples in there. Again, looking for site behavior, the purchase history, what you may like, and you can correlate that with similar target audiences or similar target members to help give a good recommendation. Search. Now, I used to say that the website search was the most utilized utility on a website or tool on a website, but also the highest failure rate. Recently, that's now moved into second place. The most important thing is personalization, but search is still very relevant and still major failures in search, right? You've got irrelevant and no search results, up to 70% response rates for that. Lack of personalization, back to that individualism. 40 to 60% of people scouring e-commerce sites still are disappointed in the lack of personalization. And then mobile. Now, when it comes to mobile, searches can be effective, but hard to do through UX. The most important difficulty with mobile very often is filters. If you're a B2B site or you're a company that sells a product that is configurable, has an enormous amount of attributes that you can select. It's LED lights and you have strip lighting. Is it 12 volts? Is it 24 volt? Is it 5K? Is it outdoor? Is it indoor? So not being able to handle your filter sets, your attributes, your product attributes, especially on configurable products, is a major disappointment. So this is where some of these tools, can be used and get that customer the right results. AI and chat support, of course, there's some benefits to that. I already went through that. And real quick, I'm not going to bore you with too much details, but chatbots are very aggressive. Some of you love them, some of you hate them. You all have to look at them because they are present. In Canada right now, B2B is averaging between 50 and 60% of the organizations are utilizing a chatbot of some sort. In the US, it's slightly higher. On the B2C side, it's about 35 to 45% of companies, and it's growing. It's growing weekly and daily. So again, it can help limit the amount of customer service calls that are repetitive. It can answer questions for people when you're not around. It can help validate a potential sales prospect by giving, you, the salesperson or the CRM, material that was gained during the chat. What industry are you in? When's your next time of purchase, etc. But you've also seen chats that are really bad and really poor. So carefully investigate what's going to work for you. It will work to some extent. It's just a matter of how you implement it, how you combine it, how you bring it into the whole sales process, customer support process, and the overall environment of your entire online operations, as well as offline. Right? If the customer is answering a phone or if a customer is calling a store and the sales rep says one thing, they go online, the chat bot or the FAQ says something different. Not good, but we will get into that. So real quick, I've got some case studies. Lululemon, excuse me. Just give me a second. You all know Lululemon, right? So they do B2B and B2C. As a wholesale. They had a challenge in the B2C side. They were dropping carts. Abandonment rate was higher than they had wanted. On the B2B side, they wanted reordering, right? Their distributors and their stores need to replenish, right? So what's hot, what's selling, what's the season? So they wanted some form of reorder ability, some automation to that. Predictively, it can be easily done based on order history, based on the environment, external influences, but you can do reorder automation. So the solution in their particular case for this scenario was WordPress WooCommerce with Zapier, right? If you're all familiar with Zapier, if you're not, you should. It's really a plug and play, drag and drop automation process of connecting a website to a system. And it could be a MailChimp, an ERP system, a CRM system, and interchange that. And it builds those blocks, those connectivities, that API, very quickly, very simply, and very cost effectively. They were also using Gorgeous AI for chatbot. Gorgeous AI is one of the leading chatbots out there. It's very effective, and it has a lot of machine learning and sentiment learning when it comes to utilizing AI, right? In their particular case, they had 30% fewer abandoned carts. Huge. I mean, that is massive, right? I don't have a lot of the details or to discuss with that right now, but if you can bump up your abandoned carts by 15%, just think of what that does to the whole bottom line. On the B2B side orders are larger. They may not be as often, and they may have nuances to them that don't allow for some of the B2C tactics to apply. But when you get repeat orders, replenishment orders on consumables or reordering activities, it works across the trades industry, across fashion industry. B2B reordering is one of the things that we get asked to ensure that is available on a portal that we're developing for a manufacturer, distributor, or wholesaler. We want to have the ability to look at past orders, repeat that order minus a quantity, etc. Right? So Lululemon. Another one was Ferguson. They do HVAC distributor. They're a major player in North America. And they're using AI for predictive and inventory and automated B2B quoting in their e-commerce, right? So the AI for predictive inventory is huge. Again, I was mentioning the shipment costs, the getting things on time. Anybody knows who's shipped freight on board, pallets and such. You know, it's not really easy to get half a pallet because you missed it onto a truck that day, right? You got to plan ahead. So your replenishment of your purchasing department all the way through fulfillment to a customer or your warehouse for a customer. So they utilized AI for predictive inventory, and they used automation for B2B quoting. So with the automation of AI for inventory, I'll start there. They just did the sync with the ERP, right? The way they connect their ERP system for order fulfillment, given that it was driven by inventory forecasting, so what people have bought in the past, what it looks like they're going to be buying, taking outside influences. What's the weather like? What's the business in housing development look like for trades, right? Seasonal stuff. Back east, you can't work in plumbing at minus 30. So there's activity that can be utilized to influence the AI or use the AI to influence the order fulfillment, the shipment fulfillment, inventory management, etc. Right? With these results, basically, they reduce the stockouts because going into a site, seeing out of stock, don't know when it's next available, huge downer for the B2B purchasing departments. So increasing that by 35%, wonderful, right? 28% faster quoting for contractors. You know, some of that quoting can't be done through AI just yet, depends on your situation. It requires a seasoned expert to go through it and say, with this fence development, you're building a bunch of, acreage fencing, and you need this many posts, this many, this, and that. Yeah, I could put together a model that AI would allow me to predict the correct quantity of products, the correct SKU, etc. But it may not be able to do that for, an advanced heating and cooling system that requires the expertise. But where it can help is where the variables are obvious. They just need someone to write them down. So get that done, get it into the system, and away you go. Now, I just realized we're running out of time. I should have probably not spent as much time with the case studies, but I thought they were interesting. Real quick, the action plans and tool sets. I'm going to, what do? You identify pain points first, then you automate and prioritize order, and you test and scale. So real quick, ask, where do your customers drop off, right? Is it the product display page? Is it the cart? Is it checkout? Find out what it's, where people are leaving. There are plenty of tools here. Google Analytics GA4 has got some behavioral flow activity. Hotjar's got a free heat map system that you can use, and just find out what people are doing. Talk to your sales rep, talk to your customer service, automate it and prioritized sequence, right? Figure out what is the low-hanging fruit, where's the biggest drop, and what's the smallest amount of money or energy we can spend to move that needle 5%, 10%, right? Cart recovery. Again, there's some tool tips here. Zapier is a great tool to start thinking about because it has some free activities and it really helps with connectivity. And then test and scale, right? What's happening? What has worked that we've put into place, even if it was from our platform, it was free, or we spent $50 a month doing it. Run some A/B tests. Weekly is difficult. Try monthly, right? Get enough user flow through to actually get to a result that makes sense. Again, some tools. Optimizely, Klaviyo is great. They got A/B testing. Crazy Egg is also pretty good. So, and by the way, I could get you guys this slide. Just let us know if you'd like it, and we can send it off to you. I've gone through a lot of this really quickly, and I apologize, I'm already running a bit late. That is it for today. I appreciate everyone coming to the presentation today. I hope you were able to learn something from it, take something home. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Put it in the chat. Again, I apologize, didn't get a chance to answer any questions in the chat. I will answer them if anybody would like. And thanks again for joining us. I look forward to speaking with you later. Enjoy the week and happy Halloween for those who are participating.